The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
Okay, my name is Norman Tumhimbise. I am with Justice Wilson Kanyeihamba. It's been a while. He's been busy and engaged in lots of things, and we haven't been in position to have him. But as you see, every now and again he's growing younger and of course visionary and proposing so many things. You see the smile is strong. We have him here. My name is Norman Tumhimbise. We are streaming live on our Facebook pages. That's Digital TV and the Alternative Uganda Facebook page. And also later alone, the very show will be on our YouTube channel, the Alternative Uganda. So those are three independent channels where all our content can be found. Professor Kanyeihamba, it's been a while ever since we last, Ugandans last saw you, given your busy schedule. May you kindly say hello to our viewers and then we shall proceed, sir.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to be with you again. As Norman says, I am getting younger, and when they gave me a party last time, they emphasized that point. I am very I have a lot of things to say, but we have very little time, so I'll stop there.
Thank you, sir. I will begin straight away. You see, when we would meet, you would have issues with your friend, the President of the Republic of Uganda, in regards to how he's managing this country. One of the shows we had sometime, the interviews rather, you mentioned that he should have resigned or retired or otherwise, but most importantly, on how he's not managing the people who are mentioned in corruption scandals. Days ago, he reshuffled his government. What was outstanding to some people and also rather shocking is his inability to dismiss some of the people the public thinks are corrupt. So he brings back most of the cabinet ministers, beginning with your friend Nabanja, your friend, one of your best friends, who Kasaija, and so many others. Any comment about Mr. Museveni's reshuffle, sir?
Yes. When the scandal of the ministers taking Karamoja money broke out, President Museveni said the ministers who are responsible for that act should be face criminal charges. Then later it was discovered that there were too many ministers involved, and if he sacked them, he would have to appoint maybe a half or more dozen other ministers. So politics took over, and he decided he's not going to do anything to sack them. For President Museveni, politics comes first above all. I saw a heading in the newspaper today, I think it is a Monitor, saying I'm not going anywhere. I nearly thought it was Museveni saying so. Because the reshuffle and the appointment of new ministers indicates clearly that Museveni is not going anywhere. Despite people like Kanyeihamba speculatively writing that this should be his last term.
Okay. A quick one also. I am aware that there is a situation that happened between you and the president when he ordered for the arrest of Moses Ali, Atubo, and I think Dr. Kaida, and you were Attorney General that time. The viewers were interested in finding out from you, as the Attorney General then, did these people have a specific pact that General Moses Ali should die a minister or otherwise? The gentleman, to the public, the gentleman is so old and he never loses his ministry.
He sleeps in the Parliament.
Now you see, you also see him sleeping in Parliament. Now, is there anything that the public doesn't know, as the former Attorney General, that you know?
I think so. My own part was that I was abroad, I think in China, when they were arrested and detained. When I came back, I was not very happy. For many reasons, I had a pact with the president. There are people like ministers, people like permanent secretaries, should not be arrested or detained unless the Attorney General is consulted. So I went to the president and offered my resignation.
For having abused the
Yes,
previous pact.
I said, you broke our pact. These people, Atubo,
Moses
and
Ali.
Moses Ali, and the one you had mentioned, should not have been arrested when he was abroad because he had no time to consider the evidence and they give you proper advice as your legal advisor, chief legal advisor. So the president said, Kanyeihamba, my people, meaning security people, had to convince him that Ali and
Omar Atubo and
Andrew
Kaida.
Kaida had committed offenses for which they should be arrested. I said, no, that's why we had our pact, because I don't have any evidence, I have not seen any evidence why they should be arrested. Then he said, okay, I will consider your view, Kanyeihamba. And that he released them. Not only that, later on they sued the government and they got substantial compensation for being detained, arrested and detained illegal. Now I don't know whether he met them and they discussed other matters. Later on I left the government and became a judge and his presidential advisor first. So I don't know what they had agreed on the pact. I don't know where Amaro Tubo is now.
But Moses Ali is...
it seems that Moses Ali
is the first deputy
will
prime
hold
minister.
the office until death departs him. And I don't know about the deal they had.
Okay. Quickly, we want to run to the constitution that you literally mothered through CA 1993, 94, and then 1995 constitution. There has been lots of concerns and exhibitions against the institution of Parliament in regards to its extravagance and, to the public's view, abuse of power and office. They give themselves lots of monies that at the expense of the taxpayers. So the citizens and your viewers were wondering, you are one of the people, Prof, a second, you're one of the people that made this constitution and gave them the powers to determine their salaries.
No, we didn't. It's not in the constitution. They made the resolution later and added, and I don't think it is a constitutional matter. I think it is in the rules
Of the,
which they
rules of
make
Parliament.
themselves. And therefore, don't
Target
associate
to you,
the power of Parliament to determine, rather the power of MPs
To
to
determine the
determine
salaries.
their salary with our constitution. It is not there. It was never there. It was never even contemplated when we were debating the constitution. But the greedy MPs, when they became so powerful, they forced a rule, and I don't think the president admits or rather approves that rule, but Parliament said MPs will determine their own salary. It is iniquitous, it is selfish, and it is not in the constitution.
Okay. Now let's also use the law. How can active citizens constitutionally challenge such an act as a legal brain? Would you advise legally what can an ordinary citizen do
You
to
see,
tame the powers of Parliament?
Article 1 of the Constitution says power belongs to the people. They should exercise their power, which is given to them by the Constitution, and oppose this rule made by the MPs themselves that they will determine their own salary. That is wrong. Because if you are determining your salary, if you are rather poor, and your family are poor, you make sure you get a salary which
Proportional to your
is
income.
proportional to the poverty of your needs and your family. That is iniquitous. The word iniquitous means evil. So the MPs, by deciding we shall determine our own salaries and allowances, they are iniquitous. The
They are
most
evil.
evil thing you can see in the English language.
Okay. Most likely you have been following some of the events, and the president was last week, if I'm not mistaken, or earlier this week, launching some hospital that belongs to the Speaker of Parliament. But what was
Belongs to
to
what?
the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Anita Among. And for some reason, because there has been an exhibition about the corruption and misspending of taxpayers' money, so everyone, some of them in the institution, tried to say that this whole exhibition is supported by, by the West and the rest. So the president said that Parliament is being attacked because there is an external force, and he did not answer the question of extravagance of Parliament. I don't know whether you even followed his speech when he was in Bukedia, praising his Speaker of Parliament.
Well. But the way the president is treating those who are alleged to be corrupt is not good for the country or for him. I am his best campaigner and a fighter against corruption. And every time he claims that corruption is his first number one object, or number two is going to fight. Then when he comes to power, those who are corrupt become MPs. And then they hold him to ransom. They hold his hands So he doesn't fight the way he talks. He doesn't walk his talk. What does that mean? It means that those ministers involved in Karamoja, including my good friend, as I have said, Kasaija, I asked Kasaija to resign as my friend, but he didn't, because the president wants to keep him. He is wrong. Not only is it wrong, it is not liked by the population, and it is a betrayal of the president's good governance. So that's what I would say about it.
Thank you. Viewers,
I am saying so, knowing fully well that I have been invited by the president. Tomorrow, we are going there, I think around about afternoon. Those people he has identified personally as mentors of Ugandans, especially the younger people. I am one of them, named by the president, to go tomorrow and be recognized as a mentor of younger people in this country.
we wish you success for tomorrow. We were here some time ago discussing, and you were not happy about the statements by his son. Remember those days when he would say, "My army, we can attack Kenya," and the rest, and you said he was reckless in his statements. So the reckless person at that time, as you took him and his reckless statements, now is the new CDF. What do you think? What is your take? What
now there is a very, very high level of politics in his appointment as commander-in-chief of the army. There is no doubt that Muhoozi Kainerugaba wanted to stand as a member, rather as president of Uganda in 2026. The reshuffle and his elevation to be head of the army is clear evidence that Mr. Mpuuga, the leader of the opposition, has stolen the headline of President Museveni, "I am going nowhere."
So you said there's a lot of politics. So what do you make of this? Okay, far from that, what do you read? That the president makes his son the commander?
He's saying, "I will stand as a presidential candidate in 2026 when you are the army commander, and army officers are prohibited from standing as candidates for the president or playing politics at all." We are waiting to see what Kainerugaba Muhoozi will say, the general. Is he going to accept the post of the chief of the army, or is he going to deny it because he says, and he told his supporters, "I am standing in 2026. He has not spoken.
In your view, do you think that the father feared his son and then made him active? Is that what you read?
No.
Or it's a syndicate they are playing?
Full commission to be the army commander and the subject.
So the powers that be to the father.
To the father. And then those who were supporting him to become president in 2026 have all been appointed junior ministers.
Yeah, some of them.
To be subject to the powers of President Museveni and not to remain campaigning for General Muhoozi.
If I may ask on behalf of our viewers, does this appointment to this big office, for instance, keep him in the queue of people who are likely to become presidents in this country, or it pushes him away from the queue?
No, as I have told you, if our constitution is obeyed, soldiers are prohibited from playing politics. So he will have no time whatsoever to mention the word politics or to play politics as a politician.
Okay. We are with Justice Kanyeihamba, and we are trying to dissect a few things that made headlines, in this period, and what was really making more black and white headlines was about Mpuuga, Noop. There is a lot that people wanted you to also give your mind about some of the incidents in Noop. The Parliamentary Commission sat and awarded itself some reasonable sums of money, from which Honorable Mpuuga is believed to have been awarded 500 million. Away from that, Noop, with its president, Robert Kyagulanyi and others, decided to ask him to step aside, and he said their suggestion or proposal isn't backed by law. I think yesterday the Speaker of Parliament wrote to Noop and told them that they do not, even when they wrote a letter to Parliament withdrawing Honorable Mpuuga from being Commissioner of Parliament, Parliament wrote back and said you don't have the powers to withdraw him. Therefore, it is no doubt that Parliament still maintains Mpuuga as the Commissioner of Parliament. The question from our viewers was, is it an act of corruption that Mpuuga and others got the money? Because most of the junior lawyers in town have given their mind and their legal advice or guidance, and people wanted to depend on your seniority. If the Parliamentary Commission awards money to people, is that considered as corruption, or it's a moral question?
The question whether the payment is immoral or not immoral goes to the committee of Parliament. The committee which awarded anybody so much money, we don't know the reason. Part of the parliamentary procedures are secret to the public.
Yeah.
So, although they may have said it was for his work or whatever, they may have had another reason why they paid him that money. Presumably, speculatively, they wanted him to defect to NRM. Or they wanted him to be one of the richest men in Uganda and in the Parliament. We don't know. That's all we can say. So we can speculate that whoever allowed Mpuuga to receive 500 million is the one who should be questioned about his integrity and his honesty, and not Mpuuga. Mpuuga presumably knows why they gave him that money. Parliamentary committees are controlled and governed by the NRM majority. Therefore, they may have a reason. We don't know whether the leader of the opposition, who self-claims is the leader of DP, Mao, was paid money. It has never been said about. The reason they gave are not very good. They are very poor, but he may have been paid money. He was put in a position where he receives a lot of allowances and salary as Minister of Constitutional and justice. So we don't know.
Okay. Now, also viewers wanted to hear from you on whether or not it was right for Honorable Bobi Wine to write already, of course, and made his official letter, literally describing Honorable Mpuuga as being corrupt and also for having abused office. How best, if you were Bobi Wine, how best would you have managed this situation?
Bobi Wine is a young and upcoming politician and will make mistakes. If I were him, I would first find out why the Parliamentary Committee gave Mpuuga such a lot of money before I make any public statement. Unfortunately, he is not very well facilitated. Although he's a musician, I don't think he earns enough to employ investigators to find out why the committee awarded so much money to the leader of the opposition in the parliament. So his statement is covered in a mystery of what he doesn't know. That's the best I can put it. Therefore, it was unfortunate for him to attack Mpuuga, who received money for which we don't know the purpose for from Parliament. He should also have very vigorously attacked the Parliamentary Committee, which gave that money, which, as I understand, was also given by, to other leaders of Parliament.
Yeah, in the commission.
Yes.
Now, I know you are following all these things with the dust, for lack of another word, and the storm in Nup. Yesterday, Honorable Mpuuga had a press conference at Parliament, and he also threw out a lot of words, for lack of another word. But now to ask you as a senior citizen and a senior legal brain, how best do you think now NUP can manage its internal conflicts? Because honestly speaking, it is no doubt there are cracks. How would you advise Bobi Wine to bend and also, cover the cracks?
The word corruption has become very, very popular and wide and spread in the country. Some of the allegations are certainly not correct. We need to have a team of supporters, presumably including you, which can verify who is corrupt and who is not corrupt. It's become fashionable when I don't like you to say you are corrupt.
You use it as a blackmail.
That's right. And this is a point I am going to, if I am allowed to speak tomorrow.
To the president?
Yeah, to the president. That's a very one point that I'm going to make. That the word corruption is used loosely to say I don't like you.
A second, and I want you to substantiate this, Prof.
Yes.
And I want to underline, and our viewers ought to take utmost attention. Do you want to suggest that there are some people in NUP that may not be liking Mpuuga and want to use corruption as blackmail?
Absolutely. There are many people, including those in NUP, who would like to be the leader of the opposition to become future president or prime minister, who hate Mpuuga, and therefore they are using this corruption scandal alleged corruption scandal as a vehicle for power. That is correct.
Do you? Okay. Our viewers, you have heard from the senior attorney. Now, we have two figures here. We have Honorable Mpuuga as the Vice President of NOP Vice President of NOP in charge of Buganda, I think Buganda or Central Region, Buganda region. And also you have his President, Bobi Wine. Do you think, could there be a conflict between Mpuuga and Bobi Wine? Because literally the first letter and the first, for lack of another word, I think the whistleblower, the chief whistleblower in this was Bobi Wine with his letter, and the rest followed. So what is your take? Do you think there could it be the same thing? Could it be blackmail by either or?
Bobi Wine was elected overwhelmingly by the Buganda kingdom. You should not forget that.
Yeah.
And when you are elected by a region like Buganda, that alone creates enmity because people wanted to be the one to be Bobi Wine, and they were rejected or they didn't stand. Therefore, if anybody is guilty of anything, it is not Bobi Wine, but those who oppose him. Mpuuga would like to be president if the needs be, certainly prime minister. And he knows people talk very much about Bobi Wine being a musician. And they wanted to parade that he's a musician, and therefore he's not a politician. It is a cause of opposition, controversy, and belittling of the leader of the party, which was very popular, and whose leader was elected in the most important region in the country, Buganda Kingdom. So every leader or political party or movement must have a sizable number of citizens who don't like them because he took away their chance or she took away their chance. I am told that some of the leaders we have, especially women leaders, including my friend Kadaga and my in-law, Bigombe, are not liked by many men, not because they don't like them as sexual objects, but because they are rivals. And because President Museveni quite rightly has elevated the status of women, and any of them could be president. So those males who want to be president hate those women, and they oppose them at every level. So this is the politics.
At play.
I have no evidence whatsoever that Bobi Wine, otherwise Shaguranye, is corrupt or has made any mistake that for which he should be purged.
Okay.
Thank you.
One of the viewers here sends a message and says, ask Professor Kanyeihamba on whether Mpuuga is being hunted because he supported the anti-homosexuality bill and subsequently...
Can I talk about the Homosexual Act?
Yeah, sure. Proceed.
The Homosexual Act is opposed by the most important legal officer in the country,
Attorney General.
the Attorney General. What is his name?
Chiwanuka.
Chiwanuka. So, if Bobi Wine is opposed to Homosexuality Act, so is the most important legal officer in the government.
Yeah.
Therefore, he's in the right company.
Okay.
But let me give my own view.
Yeah.
These MPs jumped to this
Act.
And supported it almost unanimously. Do they know what they were doing? They were protecting the homosexuals. The Anti-Corruption Act,
Anti-homosexuality.
yes, rather protects the homosexuals of Uganda. If I tell you, suppose you are homosexuality, you are going public, you are campaigning that the younger children should become homosexuals, and I say, if you are found doing that, you will be sentenced to death.
So you begin doing it
That alone is a deterrent, but it makes you you do it publicly.
Privately,
rather privately. Because those who indulge in homosexual activities do it at night, under the bed, and you don't see them. Those who are previously, they could say, I am a homosexual, I am gay. If they say it now, they will be sentenced to death immediately. Therefore, the Homosexuality Act is intended to protect homosexuals.
Okay.
And I will tell the president tomorrow.
And I think in our last 5 or so minutes, I want to ask you, where, of course, they say that in politics, even a day is too long. In the event that the situation remains as is, where do you think NUP will be come 2026? With the cracks, literally the visible also cracks.
When I supported the President Museveni, when he was campaigning to become president, the whole country regarded him as a bandit and an upstart, and the politics he was following were communist. Communists not very liked in Uganda. We won. So Bobi Wine should not listen to rumors, to false information. If he wants to be the president, he should fight his side and convince the Ugandans that he would be a good president. That's all. Don't be diverted by false campaigners and haters that Bobi Wine is this and that. Because the accusations against President Museveni, before we were appointed, we were put into power, were much worse
than Bobi Wine faces. What about the internal wrangles that seem to be
those are for them to sort out. Obviously, if you are a leader of a party, you sort out as soon as possible the internal wrangles you have with your colleagues.
Okay. Previously, I wanted to ask you about that is a message for Bobi Wine, because now we know he's clear. A message for Dr. Besigye now.
She's a Besigye. I love him. Not because he's from Kigezi, but because he's a very active and potential president after Museveni. I see him as the president of his own party and a potential candidate for the presidency next round.
2020.
Having said that, he's making a mistake by keeping quiet. I gather he has got a program on media which is often followed. But he doesn't say whether he still wants to be president of Uganda.
What do you want him to say?
I want him to say that now, that I want to be a presidential candidate in 2026 or wherever, if he's afraid of Museveni.
What does that cure, sir?
Pardon?
What does it cure if he informs the public as early as now, in your view? Or what does he lose if he doesn't inform them as early as now? It's either or.
You see, I know some Barokole, and they believe in the Bible as I do. I'm a Christian. But don't hide your candle and the basket. Show it to the public. Let the public know you want to be president. So for me, the only criticism I have about Besigye is keeping his supporters waiting to say I will be a presidential candidate either in 26 or after 26.
Our viewers, we may not be in position to add the word, but by God's grace, later alone, we are like it also have Professor Kanyeihamba. Everywhere we have lots of, issues that deserve a person of his reasoning, a person of his experience and expertise in matters of law, human rights, governance, justice, constitutionalism, and seniority generally. Your closing remarks, and then we shall call it a day, sir.
My remark...
Maybe a second. What you would tell the president tomorrow, so that at least we know. And if you also shy away, we shall be here to ask you, did you shy away from telling Mr. Museveni?
I will not shy away.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you what I will ask the president. I will ask the president whether he has reconsidered my advice that he ends his presidency this term.
2026.
I will ask him if I'm given an opportunity. The second one is that reconciliation is the most important in governance. So his view to reconcile, and I think calling me to State House tomorrow is a very commendable decision. It is seeking reconciliation with Kanyeihamba, who has been one of the small critics of governance in this country. I thank him for that, and I will do so tomorrow.
I don't know precisely. I will beg my producers there to hang in there for a second. Also, why are you bothered that there should be reconciliation?
Because confrontation in politics is very damaging and destructive. Conflict and calling each other enemies in one country is damaging and destructive. Reconciliation does the opposite. It brings opposite political leaders who say we are brothers, we are comrades in one struggle to improve our country, Uganda. That is why I prefer reconciliation besides politicking.
Okay, our viewers, we pray that by God's grace, after Professor has met, after Professor and the rest of the senior leaders in this country have met Mr. Museveni tomorrow, we request that you invite us and you brief us, like I previously said, whether you chickened out or you told him point blank. Bless all of you. May God bless one and all for God and my country, sir.
Thank you very much. I never chicken out.
Okay. We shall be here and then we will put you onto the spot to tell us what happened.
Okay, thank you.
Viewers, catch you next time.
Thank
Norman.
you. Thank you.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.